Preparing for this testimony has been a painful experience, as it necessitated reviewing a difficult period in my life. My family have helped uncover some suppressed memories. It was 1990 that I came close to death as a result of undergoing a radiculogram. At the time, I was still on a career break, having had 4 children, one of whom had been born 2 years after the third died, and he was then 4 years old. My husband was away from home for long hours and took little part in family life during the week. Our youngest had allergies and was very lively, and my husband struggled to understand his needs. Life was very busy, with the children attending different schools and all having after-school activities and church activities. Life at times was stressful. I developed a cough, which led to my third period of chronic back pain and sciatica. This time, osteopathy didn't help. The pain increased and mobility decreased. I was worried about childcare for all the family if I couldn't get out of bed or needed to be admitted to hospital. The pain became so intense that I struggled to roll, sit, stand, or walk, and I couldn't climb the stairs. I slept or tried to sleep in the ground floor guest room. When my father finally decided that enough was enough, he somehow managed to get me in his car and drove me to the GP and then on to hospital. For 2 weeks I was sedated and in traction to stretch my spine and relieve the pressure on 2 torn intervertebral discs. The day before surgery was planned, I was given an injection of dye into the spinal cord and strapped into a giant hamster wheel, which was then tipped to varying angles for a radiculogram. The purpose was to show the surgeon exactly where and what spinal surgery was needed to relieve pressure on the trapped nerves and torn discs and to stabilize the vertebrae. The nurse accompanying me was told that following the procedure, I was to sit up at an angle of at least 60 degrees and drink a litre of water to ensure the dye was flushed out and did not reach my brain. However, this didn't happen while awaiting a delayed porter, so it was some time before I was returned to my room, where an elevating headrest, more pillows and water could be accessed. The dye went to my brain and caused the brain to swell. The pain, as it pushed against my skull, was excruciating. I developed a high temperature, pain in the back of my neck, could not tolerate light, and developed hypersensitivity to sound. I could hear conversations in rooms further down the corridor. Despite the windows being tinted, I couldn't open my eyes for more than a second or two. My body was covered in blotches, and my alimentary canal got blocked. I drifted in and out of consciousness. At one point, I became aware of the surgeon sitting quietly in a chair, watching me. I don't know how long he'd been there, but he was clearly concerned. I wonder if he had been praying. There were times when I knew I was hallucinating. In my room, the painting on the wall was dripping like wax. The floor appeared to be covered in Inco sheets, and there was a red double-decker London bus covered in bacon, eggs, and sausages. I struggled to eat and even to drink from a carton with a straw until a second air hole was made in the carton to equalize air pressure. I appreciated being spoon-fed with fresh fruit salad, helped to sip chamomile tea, and having ice packs on my forehead and hot packs behind my neck. The most memorable event during this period was when, at the height of this meningitis, I was unconscious and I was passing through blackness, but there was a bright light that got bigger. I was experiencing complete calm and unaware of any pain or thoughts. I seemed to be floating gently and soundlessly towards the light, which was the only thing I saw. I became aware of the presence of God and understood that I was going to leave the world as I knew it to be with God. I felt content and ready to go. I didn't develop any anxiety, panic, or respond to God when part way towards the light. I sensed that God was telling me that my youngest needed me, and it was not yet my time to be with God. I am convinced that this was God's decision and wordless message to me. The light was disappearing, and all went black. While I have experienced God's presence and his guidance or direction since, it has never been like this. I have heard actual words. Go west led me to Cardiff at a time when it seemed crazy to move away from Ruislip. And the words of the hymn, Praise the Lord, O my soul, woke me at 3 a.m., coinciding with when my husband started to come out of a coma. At times I felt God's presence like being in a protective bubble. I have heard of other people seeing a light when unconscious and wondered if this might occur if under general anaesthetic. But it did not occur during either of the 2 operations that I've had. On those occasions, I was going under and then came to, and no awareness of anything between. Following discharge in a spinal support to complete my recovery without surgery, daily pain eventually stopped, as did the side effects of the strong steroids required to reduce the swelling of my brain, the mood swings, and the fluctuating strength and agility, which had made it difficult for others to understand or even believe me regarding my physical and emotional well-being. Bursts of energy were followed by fatigue, and I couldn't get enough sleep. I could not forget my experience and was determined to make good use of the life that God had given me, not only with meeting the needs of my own kids, but to return to my career as an occupational therapist when well enough. Life wasn't always smooth or easy, but I felt driven to use my knowledge and experience for the benefit of children, teenagers, and their families. These were gifts from God, and he had given me a purpose and a chance to use them at home, work, and in the church. I've always been grateful to God for that extra time and opportunity to help my son cope with the difficulties he had and to see him reach his potential. He's a son to be proud of, as are my other children. I still have to be careful with my back, but I've not had any other severe injuries or period of incapacity. Praise the Lord. Obviously, I do not know when God will call me to him, but I am not afraid of death.